Pokemon. Satoshi Tajiri of Japan invented Pokemon. As a kid growing up in the 1970s, Tajiri loved to collect bugs. Thromping through the fields and forests near his home on the outskirts of Tokyo, he snagged butterflies with a net, found creepy crawlers under rocks, and collected crabs and crayfish from ponds. Tajiri also loved monster movies, science fiction novels, and video games. To make time for his hobbies, he cut class and barely made it through high school. After he finally graduated, his father decided that Tajiri should go to college or become electrical utility repairman. Tajiri wasn't the least bit interested in either. Still, to please his dad, he went to a technical school and spent most of his time in arcades playing video games. He was around so often and was such a likable guy that one of the arcade owners gave him a full size Space Invaders machine to take home. At 17, he and several friends launched a magazine called Game Freak, which at first was handwritten and stapled together. Ken Sugimori happened to pick up a copy and decided he wanted to get involved. The two boys hit it off from the start. Soon, they decided that most video games were of poor quality and that they could make far better ones. After considerable study, they created an arcade-like game called Quinty, eventually selling it to company Namco. The idea for Pokemon popped into Tajiri's head in 1990. Tajiri had previously worked for Nintendo on The Legend of Zelda and other games. Impressed with his and Ken's work, the Nintendo executives put Pokemon into development. 6 years later, the game was ready, and Pokemon, short for Pocket Monster, or Poketo Monsuta, as it was called in Japan, hit stores. The story in the game was a lot like Tajiri's insect collecting days. A player goes on a strange adventure in a world populated by all kinds of wild creatures with buggy names like Kingler, Krabby, Grimer, and Squirtle. The player's task is to capture as many Pokemon as possible. Once captured, a Pokemon joins the player's team and helps him or her grab other unsuspecting critters on the way to becoming a Pokemon master. The game was an immediate hit in Japan. Its tremendous popularity led to the making of a Japanese Pokemon TV series, a card trading game, and comics. These spin-offs caused Pokemon sales to soar. Not only did older kids love them, but younger children could now participate in the craze. And the younger children, of course, were the next generation of Pokemon video game players. In 1998, Pokemon invaded the United States on its way to conquering the world. Over the next 2 years, a staggering 20 million copies of the video game were sold in the United States alone. Warner Brothers released 3 big-screen, feature-length Pokemon movies, books, clothes, stuffed animals, and all sorts of other Pokemon items popped up everywhere. As for Tajiri, he's a wealthy, fun-loving nut, an eccentric genius who likes to work on his games for 24 hours straight, then sleep for 12. He's living proof of the truth of an old saying. Find a job doing something you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. Fun facts. Pokemon are never killed. They just faint. Pokemon video games consist of 2 interactive Game Boy units, connected via a cord, allowing players to join forces as a team and share information. Ken Sugimori illustrated the first 151 Pokemon video games and most thereafter. He also lent his gifted hand to Pokemon card games and other spin-offs. Each Pokemon has a special power. Some can fly, others start fires. Still, others just disappear and then turn up someplace else. Pokemon all but saved Nintendo. Sales were waning until Tajiri's video game took the world by storm.